Okay, seventh graders, if you watch this video of me going over this symbolism lesson, then you will be able to skip right to the Let's Review section and start on the questions. So let's start out by asking, what is a symbol? You might already know, but a symbol is often an ordinary object, event, person, or animal to which society has attached extraordinary meaning and significance. A symbol allows people to communicate beyond the limits of language. In literature, symbols help a writer to develop themes within a story. So consider the bald eagle. Since 1782, the bald eagle has been a symbol of freedom in the United States. Chosen because it was considered to exist only on the North American continent, the eagle represents strength and majesty. The image of the bald eagle can be seen as an emblem on United States currency or money, such as the gold coin, silver dollar, half dollar, and the quarter. It also appears on many state seals. The bald eagle is a familiar, recognizable symbol for many Americans. So take a look at the following images. Can you guess what each image symbolizes? So you might have already seen the answers there. A rose, a red rose, and a dove. So a red rose is often a symbol of love and beauty. So in other words, if a red rose is given by a man to a woman, it's a symbol of love. A dove is often a symbol of peace. So you might be able to think of other symbols, like the symbol of an S with a line through it. That is a symbol of our money system, the dollar. Okay, if you think about the Eiffel Tower, for example, you see an Eiffel Tower and you automatically think of Paris and France. Okay, so symbols are an image that stands for something else. So we're going to talk about how to identify symbols now. Symbolism may seem like an abstract concept to understand when you're first learning about it. And it is true, a writer might choose to use a particular symbol to express deeper meanings and emphasize a theme he or she wants to convey. By nature, symbols are implicit, or they're not directly stated, and they can be a challenge to discover. So here are three questions you can ask yourself if you spot something that you think might be a symbol, especially in a novel or a play. Remember, a symbol can be either an object, an event, a person, or an idea. So there are lots of literary images to consider. Okay, so the questions you ask yourself when you think you might see a symbol. Number one, is the image repeated multiple times throughout the work? Number two, is the image described in great detail? And three, does the image seem out of place in the work? Okay, so let's remember these three questions, and we're going to go on to use of symbolism in the Diary of Anne Frank. So one recurring symbol in the Diary of Anne Frank is Mrs. Van Dane's fur coat, if you remember reading about that. So in our discussions about characterization, we noted that Mrs. Van Dane's strong connection to her fur coat is evidence that she is a static character. Okay, so in other words, she's very consistent. But could this literary image also be a symbol of something greater than Mrs. Van Dane's obsession with the old fur? So, consider the three identifying questions from above as we determine the symbolism behind the fur coat. So number one, the first question is the image repeated multiple times throughout the work? Yes. The fur coat is mentioned many times throughout the course of the play. In a few scenes of the play, it's shown to be sitting, or she is shown to be sitting with the fur coat on her lap, petting it as though it were a living creature. So we might think that's a little odd. So while she allows Anne to try the coat on, she becomes enraged or very angry when Anne accidentally spills milk on it. Then, in a later scene, Mrs. Van Daan is utterly inconsolable, so no one can make her stop being so upset. When Mr. Van Daan gives the coat to Miep to sell for supplies and cigarettes. So, is it just that the coat is warm, soft, and soothing to touch? No, it must have more significance than that. So the second question, is the image described in great detail? Yeah, as a matter of fact, it is. Mrs. Van Daan is criticized in Act 1, Scene 2 for wearing her fur coat in July as the family walked to the secret annex to enter into hiding. Mr. Van Daan makes a point to mention that it was a dangerous act as it could have aroused suspicion. Mrs. Van Daan's interaction with the coat are mentioned in detail. She rests it on her lap, stroking it. In another scene, she is repairing the torn lining inside the coat. Mr. Dussel refers to it as a ratty old coat and wonders how she can be so attached to it. And number 3, does the image seem out of place in the work? The coat does seem out of place within the play. From the beginning, it seems strange that she would risk drawing attention to herself while she was traveling to her hiding place while wearing a fur coat on a hot summer day. So we can find details in the play to support answers for each of these 3 questions. Therefore, we can conclude that Mrs. Van Daan's fur coat is indeed a symbol. The coat represents a larger, more abstract idea. Her previous status as a member of a middle-class society and the material possessions she once had. So, in other words, it's not just that she loves her old fur coat, it's that she misses being a member of society and where she had quite some status in her society and was respected. And it's also a symbol of all the possessions she had to leave behind when they went into hiding. So that's the image of the fur coats. Okay, so consider the following literary images. Use the questioning strategy to determine whether or not these images are symbols. If so, what do they represent? Okay, so number 1, the Westertoren clock. Is it mentioned over and over again? And is the image described in great detail? And does the image seem out of place in the work? Okay, so what do you think about the Westertoren clock? Okay, I'm just putting this out there. This is for you to think about because later in this lesson you are going to have to pick one symbol from the play to write about. Okay, number 2, the Hanukkah celebration. Is that a symbol? Okay, so was it mentioned over and over again within the play? Does the image of the Hanukkah celebration seem out of place in the work, and is it described in great detail? Number 3, the New Year's Day cake from Miep. Is that a symbol? Is it mentioned over and over? Is it described in great detail? And is the cake, does that seem out of place? And number 4, Peter's cat. Is Peter's cat mentioned over and over? Is Peter's cat described in great detail? And does it seem out of place in the work? So, but this is not an exhaustive list. Keep questioning as you read. What other symbols can you find in the play? For an extended writing assignment, you may use one of the 4 symbols listed above or another that you find within the play. Be sure to justify your answers with details from the play. So when you do your questions, you're not allowed to use Mrs. Van Daan's fur coat because we've already talked about that. But you can use either the Westertoren clock, the Hanukkah celebration, the New Year's Day cake from Miep, Peter's cat, or another symbol that you might find. So when you write about the symbol, you are going to need to write it with a strong topic sentence, and I'm going to tell you how to do that right here. A well-developed paragraph includes three components: a topic sentence, supporting sentences, and a concluding sentence. So we're going to discuss how to write a good topic sentence. The well-written topic sentence should state the main idea of your paragraph clearly while engaging the reader's attention. Once you have established the purpose of your paragraph with the topic sentence, the supporting sentences provide evidence to support your idea. In other words, those are the detail sentences. So that's where you write about the reasons, examples, details, and illustrations that relate to your topic sentence. Then you're going to end your paragraph with a conclusion that summarizes your main ideas. So again, topic sentence. When you write your topic sentence, consider the following. So first you're going to decide on the main point of your paragraph. So in this case, you're going to be writing about a symbol from the play Anne Frank. But in this case, the topic was explain the colors of the rings on the Olympic flag. Okay, so they're going to make a well-written topic sentence of explaining the colors of the rings on the Olympic flag. So you state your main point and the related information in a sentence. The colorful rings on the Olympic flag have symbolic meaning. Okay, that's the main point. The colorful rings and related information. They have symbolic meaning. So then you're going to rewrite your sentence until it is really interesting and engaging instead of boring. An example is, did you know that the colorful rings on the Olympic flag were designed to unify the countries participating in the games? Okay, so that's an example, but you're going to be writing about a symbol from Anne Frank. So an example of a boring, not well-written topic sentence would be, Peter's cat is a symbol in the play of the Diary of Anne Frank. Okay, that you're not going to get all the points you should for it. Okay, think of a way in number 3 to rewrite your sentence until it is interesting and engaging. Okay, that is going to count. Okay, so now that we're done, you can read this Let's Review paragraph and start on the questions. And good luck, and contact me if you have any questions or concerns. Bye.